In chapter 20 of the Picture of Dorian Gray, as Dorian walks home, enjoying the pleasant evening, he hears people talking about him. This leads him to think about how he used to enjoy being talked about, and how the girl he had once been romancing had an innocence he'd lost. Once he gets home, he settles in the library and continues thinking, focusing now on what Henry said about how Dorian couldn't change. He longs for his lost innocence. As he wanders through his various memories, he gets angry and shatters a mirror Henry had given him years ago. Gazing upon his fractured image, Dorian thinks of all the people whose lives he has ruined or damaged. He resolves to put the past behind him and to change. When he thinks of Hetty Merton, the girl he intentionally did not spoil, he wonders if his magic portrait still looks as terrible as it used to. He goes to look at it and finds it is as macabre and repulsive as ever. It might even be more horrible, because in addition to all the past sins, Dorian can now see hypocrisy in the portrait's face. He wonders if Basil's murder will haunt him his whole life. The painting is, Dorian decides, the last piece of evidence, and so he must destroy it. Looking around, he sees the knife he used to stab Basil. He plunges the blade into the painting. There is a terrible cry and a crash. His servants hear the sounds, as do people on the street outside. Entering the locked room by way of the window, they find a beautiful portrait of Dorian as a young man he's always appeared to be, hanging on the wall. But below the painting lies a monstrously ugly, old, and withered man with a knife plunged into his heart. Chapter 20 brings the entire surreal tale to a close as Wilde brings the various themes to a full resolution. There is an imbalance between appearance and reality, and this chapter says it is temporary. Reality will always break through to win in the end. The clash between art and life is more complicated. Dorian's actual sins do catch up with him in the end. Art enabled his loathsome life, even as it hid it. Throughout the novel, Dorian had enjoyed using a mirror to inspect his face for absent signs of change. When he did not find any, he was reassured. In this chapter, though, he breaks a mirror, symbolizing the end of his extended self-contemplation. As soon as he is no longer content to look at his own beauty, his death is sure to follow quickly, as indeed it does. Dorian has repeatedly shown himself to be extremely shallow and self-centered. He misses the impact of many of his actions. Yet in Basil's portrait, he can immediately see a single line of hypocrisy. This indicates that great art can lift even the shallowest of people to new insight. In his preface to the novel, Wilde wrote, "Those who find ugly meanings in beautiful things are corrupt without being charming. This is a fault." This, in the end, describes Dorian Gray.